you so much for joining us today.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys, my in-person people, for being here and joining me and using your lunch hour to learn something. I promise to absolutely make it worthwhile. Hello to everyone out there that's watching. This is going to be fun. I promise to make this fun, about the art of persuading your audience to do anything. So here's a little bit about me real quickly, because why should you listen to me about persuading your audience? My name is still Pavlov Vasquez, and I own Your Creative Concierge. It's a psychology-driven copywriting service. I've been in the marketing industry for over 15 years, and along with that, I'm also a comedian, a theater nerd, and I always bring a little bit of flair with me wherever I go, especially into the copywriting world. And I'm an expert at standing out, at getting attention. It's my absolute favorite thing, so of course I became an expert in it. So today I'm going to teach you a little bit how to get some more attention, some more credibility, and really persuade your audience to do what you want them to do. So here's our little syllabus for the day, in case you guys are like counting down the minutes till you can actually eat your lunch. So we'll start out with the basics of copywriting, because I don't want to assume that anyone knows what copywriting is. Actually, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have thought it was like the whole trademarking, patenting thing. I didn't understand what it was. Copywriting, in so many words, I'll give you guys the low level and the high level definition. Low level, your copywriting is your blogs, your emails, your social media captions, the writing that's on your website. Basically, any text that is in your marketing arsenal is considered copywriting. On a higher level, copywriting is using strategic wording to get people to take action. It is literally the art of persuasion. We are literally using our words to get people to buy from us, to sign up for our stuff, to follow us. Whatever you want them to do, it's copywriting that gets you there. So as a creative copywriter, I take the basics of psychology and use those to manipulate people, essentially. I mean, I hate to say it like it is, but we're essentially manipulating people to do what we want them to do. That's at the base of marketing. Marketing is getting people to do what we want them to do, and great content is absolutely the best sales tool in the world, as you'll see. So getting into my favorite subject, psychology. This is Ivan Pavlov, not my great-grandfather. As far as I know, he's not. Maybe he is, because I definitely took an interest into psychology. If you don't know who he is, Google Pavlov's bells. Make sure you spell it right, because if you Google Pavlov's balls, that's a totally different thing. But he rang these bells to make dogs come to them, and he conditioned these dogs. Copywriting and marketing is essentially conditioning. We're conditioning people to believe in us and to believe in our products and our services and to do what we want them to do and invite them into our community. Your products and services aren't just products and services anymore in the digital age. It's now about community. It's about engagement. It's about getting deep into their psyche and making them realize that they need you. So this is our syllabus for psychology. I'm going to start with the importance of understanding your target audience, because before we do any of this, before you start with any copywriting, you have to nail down who your target audience is. I'm sure that you guys may have heard the phrase where it's like, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. Yeah. And it's very true, because you know, you're going to talk to your customers differently than you're going to talk to your customers, differently than you're going to talk to your customers. And you need to know who they are to be able to know how to talk to them. Like these construction workers outside, I'm going to talk to them very differently than the way that I'm going to talk to the people working the coffee bar downstairs, because they have different aspirations, they have different identities, they have different goals. So it helps you to create that tailored messaging that really hooks people in, because at the end of the day, copywriting and marketing, it's about making a connection. It's about making a connection to your audience, and before you can do that, you have to know who they are. It also helps you to choose the right channels, because we have so many of them today, whether it's blogs like Medium or even on your own website, or all the social media networks that they keep coming up with more and more every day. I'm not a fan of putting out all my information all over a bunch of different social media networks to try to reach a bunch of people. I don't think that works. I think it's better to choose one or two and really hone in on your audiences there and really craft messages that speak to that social network, because the stuff you're posting on LinkedIn is going to be very different than the stuff that you're posting on TikTok. So find out where your target audience is hanging out and hang out there. It also helps you to develop more effective products and services. And what I mean by that is, like, however many years ago, before computers, before Kardashians, before all of that stuff, we had market research. And it was like this big industry, and it still exists to some extent, but people were like paying all this money for people to like come in a room, they would like eat their bagels and cream cheese and drink their coffee, and they would get paid to like talk about feedback for products and services. And we don't necessarily need that as much anymore, because now you have a direct communication to all your customers. You have a direct line to just reach out and say, hey, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this? Even if you're not directly asking them, going through and seeing what they're talking about, seeing what is piquing their interest. It's a lot of research and data, which you may not expect, but it is. It's a lot of research and data that goes into this. Understanding your target audience also helps to differentiate you from your competitors. Because let's say I was just talking to a group of bookkeepers, and how bookkeeper A talks to their audience is going to be different than bookkeeper B and bookkeeper C, because they might all be doing different things. You might have one that focuses on mompreneurs, one that focuses on high yield companies, a bookkeeper that focuses on MLMs, or whatever it is. All those sectors of one job, one industry, have different target audiences, and you need to differentiate from your competitors. And part of that is using your target audience to say, okay, these are my people and this is what I can do for them. I may not be able to do it for these people over here, but here's what I can do for my people, and really sell that. So, talking about our target audience a little bit more, we want to make their pain points our priorities. I see it all too often that people are on their website, on their social media, talking about themselves, talking about their company. And that doesn't work. In order for it to work, in order for your audience to take action, in order for you to persuade them, you need to make this their story, not yours. Okay? You want to position them as the hero who has this problem, and you're going to come in and you're going to help them with their problem, but they're the one that leaves with the hero's ending, with the results, with the happy ending. I already made a ball joke. So what you want to know about them specifically we're tugging at heartstrings here, essentially. That's what we're doing. We're tugging at heartstrings. So what are the internal and external struggles that arise from their pain points? What are they feeling inside? What's going on outside? If you're an exterminator, obviously external struggles are bugs everywhere. But an internal struggle might be like, oh my God, I'm so gross, I got bugs in my house. Like, you can play on that. So think about what your customers, not just their external struggles that you're helping them with, but what are they struggling with internally that your product or service is going to help them with? And why can you solve that better than your competitor? When you're talking about their pain points, you want to make sure to touch on why you are the one that is going to be this knight in shining armor to help our hero in the story and get them to where they're not having these pain points anymore. And speaking of that, you want to demonstrate, what does life look like after these pain points are resolved? What does life look like after working with you? What does life look like after buying your product? You want to touch on these things. You're taking people through a journey. I really need to emphasize that you're not just giving people information. If you want to persuade them to do anything, you got to take them on a journey. You got to get them in the middle of that story so that they can clearly see themselves using your service or product. And again, this is all about telling the story, their story, not yours. So this is one of my favorite slides to go over, because this is where I get to dive a little bit into psychology. This is where we get to talk about what's going on in our customers' minds. And this is where we start to use that art of persuasion. This is where we start to tug on those heartstrings or all those emotional strings. So the first one that I'll talk about is fear. We all know FOMO. We've probably all had FOMO in one way or another. But fear is an amazing motivator. I can't tell you how much money I've spent on clothes I don't need because I've gotten an email that says, hurry, the sale ends in 24 hours. I'm like, I really need that leopard scrunchie right now. So, fear motivates people. And I want to emphasize that fear isn't just about like, hurry, buy it. Fear also looks like, what does your customer's life look like if they don't use your product or service? Really scare them. I'm going to use the example again of the bookkeepers because I was just talking to them. Like, what would an entrepreneur's life look like if they managed their own finances versus getting a bookkeeper? Scare them into like, hey, you could really get in trouble here. Let them know what the repercussions are. I'm going to jump down to scarcity because I think scarcity kind of goes along with fear. It's that same like, oh my God, like kind of panic moment. It's just a little different because scarcity can more look like, hey, limited inventory. Hey, I only have room for so many clients. Every once in a while I'll get on social media and I'll be like, hey, I only have room for one more client this month, so if you were thinking about it, let me know. And like, maybe I have room for 3 more clients, but they don't need to know that. You want to make it look scarce, and because people value things more when they believe they are rare or in short supply. I'm going to jump back up to social proof. Social proof is because people tend to follow a crowd. We don't like to part with our money. If you've ever made a spending purchase, you take time to think about it and weigh the decisions. And one of those things that you might do is look for reviews. You're looking for assurance, essentially, that someone has been there and that it has worked for them. You want to know that if you're putting out your money, you're going to get the results that you desire. So the more that you can show people that they're safe with you, that they're safe giving you their money, that's social proof. So that means testimonials. If someone's ever used your product and service and sent you a text message, screenshot that shit, put it up on your social media, say, look how good I'm doing for people. Show people that you are out there and people are loving your stuff. Authority, and I'm going to jump very into detail to that later, but you have to think that someone's credible. Again, people are not likely to turn over their money right away, and they're especially not likely to turn over their money. Like if I came in here and I was like, hey guys, I like to write, and I can write really creatively, so I hope you guys will hire me. Like, you gotta show your authority. Like, no, I've been doing this for a while. This is my area of expertise. This is why you need to trust me on this subject. And authority, it's a little bit of a long game, right? You're not just gonna I didn't just come into the copywriting game and everyone was like, oh my God, Jill's here. We gotta hire her. This is what we've been waiting for. Authority is built over time through thought leadership posts, through blogs, through putting yourself out there, putting yourself out there and getting the results and showing people that has been happening over time. It builds over time. The last psychological trigger that I'll go over is curiosity. We are naturally curious creatures, so any chance that you have to pique people's curiosity, do it. And sometimes that means not giving away all the information at once. If you can string people along, let's call it like it is. If you can string people along with a series of posts or make them wait with bated breath for what you're going to say next, that's a huge way for people to stay engaged and stay following you. So now that we have our psychological triggers in place, I want to speak more about crafting your authority, because I think this is so important for being able to persuade people. Because have you ever hired someone who has an area of expertise that you know nothing about? Like for me, I'll use when I go take my car in. I'm going to take those people's word because I know nothing about it. But I'm going to go to a place that I found that looks authoritative, that people have given good reviews for, that people are happy with, that has a website that looks legitimate. Stuff like that is what you're going to look for. So people are looking for you to be credible. They're looking for you to have that authority before they buy from you. And that's why your digital presence is so important these days. Because the first thing that people do is Google you. And that's because you're a freaking stranger. So I know that this seems like a very base idea that you're a freaking stranger, but But we kind of tend to forget that about ourselves. We tend to forget that not everyone knows what we're doing. I have friends that don't know like what I do for a living, you know? So like you can never overestimate what people know about you. Assume that they know nothing, because if you're just, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, just don't assume that anyone knows anything about your business. And that's because also people are naturally lazy. Our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter every day. So you really have to hook people with who you are and what you can do for them immediately, because we are all scrolling on our phones every day, whether it's social media, your website, whatever. You have to be able to hook people and jump out right away with who you are and what you can do for them. The most important question is what you can do for them, and you have to educate them on that, or you risk losing their interest. The thing that I love about being a stranger on the internet is that you can have a more aspirational identity. Now, I'm not telling you to catfish anyone or anything like that, but maybe you're a little bit more shy in person, maybe you're a little bit more reserved, maybe you have imposter syndrome and don't think that you're the expert. It doesn't matter. On social media, on your website, on your blog post, or whatever it is, you're gonna be that expert. You're gonna make it seem like you're that expert, because you probably are if you're good at what you do. Now you just have to like let everyone else know, so you can build this aspirational identity that people really want to get into and follow. And it might be a little bit different than your normal persona, but like take a liberty with that, because people want to follow people that they look up to. People want to buy from people that they look up to. Does that make sense? Okay, just making sure, because I don't know, I think that one can get a little bit wonky in the wording, but that's what I'm copywriter, that's what I'm here to do. So, I love talking about biographies because they are one of the best way to show your credibility right off the bat. And the best way that I can demonstrate that is if everyone in the room or everyone out there, if you Google yourself right now, if you have a name like John Smith, this exercise is going to be a little bit more difficult. But think about it. When a stranger meets you, or when you meet, when you're looking up someone on the internet, the first thing that you do is Google them. And you really should be doing regular Google audits of yourself to see what comes up, because that literally is the first impression that you're giving people, is what they find on your Google search. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have, on that first page or in those first few results, if you don't have something that says who you are and what you do, now this is very different if someone's Googling you for dating purposes, obviously, but for business purposes, if someone is Googling you for this stuff, if you don't have what you do, it's like, well, okay, that person doesn't really seem credible. They don't even have any information about what they do. And another thing to note is that when you Google someone, and I guarantee you, pretty much anyone that you Google that's not a famous celebrity, one of the first things that comes up is their LinkedIn profile, if they have that. And that's usually where when I Google someone, I see, okay, that's what that person does. Or I see they have nothing, and then I'm like, I don't really know what that person does. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that having a professional biography is so important for your personal branding and for your authority online. Again, tying this back in so that you can persuade people. Because if you're that authority figure, they're gonna listen. Like, again, back to my car fixing example. They can persuade me to do just about anything, because I don't know any different. So if whatever industry you're in, and I'm not saying prey on people, okay, but this gives you the chance to show yourself as the expert, and when you are the expert, people will listen to you because you're the expert. So your biography helps you to establish that credibility and authority, because it says what you do and what you do for people. I'm going to skip to the next slide because I think it's better actually to demonstrate. So this is what goes into a good professional biography if you want people to really get a sense of what you can do for them. It begins with a strong hook aimed at your target audience. We spent a good amount of time talking about target audience today. So what is something that you can say that will really get to them? Like for me, it's like, are you tired of your posts being ignored? Or something like that. There might be someone out there that's like, they're putting out posts every day and they are tired of it being ignored. If that were me, that would immediately grab me. So it begins with some, and no, it doesn't begin with John Smith won all these awards and blah, blah, blah. It begins with something about the audience, not something, even though it's your biography, it begins with something about the audience that's really important. It addresses their pain points in a natural way. Again, I know that a biography is about you, but you have to say, what are you doing to address people's pain points? What are the results that people get? Now it's getting more into you. What did you help them do? It focuses more on the problems than you solve than your credentials. Because getting the 2010 award from the Sandpaper magazine November contest of best businesses, like people, unless you won like a Nobel Prize, listing all these certifications like people love to do, it's a lot. People aren't scanning for that stuff. If you're scanning over someone's bio, you're looking for what do they do, how can they help me? That's it. That's all you're looking for. What can they do? I don't care about anything else. And your differentiators play into why you are the best person to help people with their problems. And also show some personality. Obviously, we don't want this to be like really boring. We want this to show, because you all have special personalities and you have something exciting that you bring to the table. So show a little bit of personality. You can have fun with it too. It doesn't have to be so buttoned up. You can hook your audience. You can address their pain points. You can show the results. You can do all of that while still having a fun personality and encompassing who you are. All right, this is what you came here for, everyone. Being the puppet master. I have my little puppet master graphic. So, are we ready to persuade our audience to do anything? We've got our target audience, we got our credibility through our biography, and now you are a trusted, credible source, and you can utilize copywriting to persuade your audience. One of the things I will tell you is do not underestimate the value of the words I understand or we understand if you're writing for multiple people, but those two words together are so powerful. Your audience wants to know that you get them, that you understand them. Like, have you ever gone to a doctor's office and you're like, this doctor just doesn't get me, like they don't get what I'm feeling? It's so frustrating, and you're probably not gonna listen to that person as much. So showing that empathy and being like, man, I'm right in there with you. Like, this happened to me too. Like, I go through this too. That I understand is so important. Again, demonstrating those results, and there's a reason why I have this, this is repetitive on purpose. I want to point that out because there are some points that I just need to really hit home. And demonstrating the results that someone gets, that's your bottom line. That's your bottom line. So when you're making a post on social media or something and you want to persuade your audience to do anything, I saved so-and-so this much money. That's all you need, results. I saved so-and-so this much money. Who wants to work with me? Also, you need to be transparent. We're in an age where a lot of people are automating things. There's a lot of bots out there, which I won't get into, otherwise we need a whole nother hour, and everyone would be hangry. But do not underestimate the value of transparency, because transparency equals trust. And it comes back to that empathy thing too. People yes, they want someone with expertise, but they want that person to also be human. We want them to have a vulnerable side. We want to connect with them. We want to know that they've been there. So if you've had mistakes, address them. Talk about them in a natural way. Be a real person for your audience. And that just opens up so many more solid connections. And when people are connected with you, they trust you, they listen to you. You can persuade them to work with you. You also want to make sure when you're writing a blog, when you're posting social media, when you're writing your website copy, that you're telling a story. Because when your audience is in that story and they can see themselves using your product or your service, that's when you can persuade them to buy from you, to sign up for your newsletter. When they're like, oh, I'm in this story and I can see the path. Make them see the light. You start out telling the story. The story starts with those pain points and all that, and bring them to their magical ending. Every word of copy is an opportunity to showcase your expertise. Don't take any word for granted. We have so many platforms that are out there, so many ways for you to get your message out, and every word of copy is a way to do that and a way to persuade people. And also be short with your copy. I didn't put this up there, but be concise, because you are not gonna persuade people with a whole novel, because no one has time to read that. Be concise as well. Maybe another time.